Today, the world is honoring the memory of Saudi King Abdullah, who died yesterday after a decade on the throne. His successor is his younger brother, 79-year-old Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. He has pledged to continue with the late king's policies. With us on the phone now from Riyadh, another member of the royal family, His Royal Highness Prince Alwaleed bin Talal Al Saud. Prince Alwaleed, please allow me to begin our conversation by expressing my deepest condolences for your loss. I know how much you loved your late uncle, King Abdullah, and I can only say on behalf of Bloomberg that we are sorry for your loss. We send our deepest condolences.
I really appreciate this. Thanks a lot, Eric. Thank you. Thanks from Bloomberg.
Of course, of course. Your Royal Highness, your late uncle King Abdullah was a reformer determined to modernize Saudi Arabia. Tell us, please, what we can expect from King Salman.
Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yeah, no, as you said, King Abdullah was a real reformer who have introduced a lot of economical, political, and social changes to Saudi Arabia. Clearly, his mission is still not accomplished yet. So Prince Salman and Prince Migran will assure you that they will continue his path because they have been with him in the past 2-3 years. So all what he was doing, they were on board with him completely, and King Salman and Crown Prince Migran will continue on that path without any doubt.
And what does that mean practically, Your Royal Highness? If they will continue on the path, what can we expect to see?
Well, Saudi Arabia faces a lot of challenges on the political front, economical front, financial front, and social front. And all these matters have to be faced on head-on. And all these challenges, I believe that King Salman and Prince Migran are up to it. So don't get me wrong, we're not saying that the mission is easy. There's a lot of, especially with the pressure right now we have in the reduction price of oil, which is going to put a lot of pressure on our Saudi budget, and which also will impact our GDP and GDP growth. So there's no doubt that the duties and responsibilities that King Abdullah and his deputy, Prince Migran, will be facing are tremendous, but I think they are up to it.
And what do you think they will do about oil prices?
Well, clearly the price of oil, having it reduced by 50%, without any doubt, it will affect Saudi Arabia because our budget depends 90% on oil. But clearly Saudi Arabia has a lot of areas to diversify into, and I've been pushing the government for the last 1 year to really diversify and establish a sovereign wealth fund and have an activated sovereign wealth fund. And I think that we are beginning to hear some voices of approval to activate that project. That's only one path that Saudi Arabia could take to diversify its economy. There are a lot of other paths that they could take, such as encouraging tourism and encouraging the exploration of other minerals from underground in Saudi Arabia. There are many other potentials that could Saudi Arabia fill up the gap of the reduction in price of oil.
Your Royal Highness, do you believe that King Salman supports the decision not to cut production and to allow the oil price to be set as freely as it has by the market?
Oh, no doubt about that, because Prince Salman, when he was prince at that time, he was chairing the Council of Ministers meeting that approved that particular decision. You remember, King Abdullah has not been chairing the Council of Ministers for the past, almost a year. So Prince Salman was chairing, when he was a prince at that time, he was chairing the Council of Ministers who approved that particular decision. So yes, I assure you, this is a decision that King Salman and his deputy Prince Migran are on board with.
Is Saudi Arabia happy that oil is trading at $45 a barrel?
There's no way any country that depends on a commodity, 90% its budget depends on it, can be happy. But clearly, since the oil price has crashed so rapidly, it's something that we have to face. It's inevitable. So no, the answer is no. We are not happy with that. But it's something that you have to face head-on without any hesitation.
But if you're not happy, why leave it this way? Saudi Arabia on its own taking a decision or influencing a decision by OPEC to cut production at any moment could change the dynamics for oil instantly. If Saudi Arabia isn't happy, why leave it at $45?
First, this is, what you said is not very correct, because let's say Saudi Arabia tomorrow reduces their production by 1 million or 2 million barrels. There's no doubt that there could be a small spike in the price of oil. But the problem here is that some other countries who are very desperate also, they will fill up that gap in no time. So I think that on the medium to long term, the fact that price of oil is 45, this will inevitably cause some oil rigs, and will cause some new oil exploration in the United States and other places in the world to be rendered ineffective and rendered uneconomical. So no doubt that the supply of oil at $45 will definitely be impacted somehow. And add to that the fact that eventually China, India, Germany, and some other countries will have their economic growth come back and be a bit higher than what it is right now. So the confluence of these two events, lesser supply and more demand, will cause the price of oil to go up a bit more. I don't say necessarily to go up to 100 or above, because I went public by saying I think we'll never see the price of $100 again. But I think it will stabilize somehow above the 50 price range.
Why do you say it will not exceed $100? There are so many countries, including Iran, for example, and Russia, that depend on a price of oil higher than or close to $100 a barrel.
Well, just because they depend on it doesn't mean it's going to go up there. Because remember also that Iran right now is not producing full capacity. And if they reach an agreement with the United States and the 5 countries plus 1, Iran could pump another 3 million barrels into this whole equation. So there's another pressure on the supply here. So the supply could increase by 3 million barrels. I think the era of $100 plus was an aberration. I think we'll never see it again. But maybe also the price of 45, 50 is also as an aberration at the downward downward trend. But I think that the price it will stabilize somewhere between these two ranges.
So is the decision to maintain OPEC production where it is now a deliberate effort to drive marginal production in the United States out of business?
I don't think it's that explicit. I think it is the fact that we kept our production where it is right now, because if we reduced our production in Saudi Arabia and other OPEC countries, some other countries will come and fill up that gap, number one. But an implicit rationale logic behind that also is that some oil rigs and some new explorations that are below the $45 to $50 range will have to be stopped eventually, because everything here has to be based on economical grounds.
Your Royal Highness, Prince Mohammed bin Nayef is now in line eventually to become king of your country. What does that say about Saudi Arabia's direction in the years to come?
Well, King Salman has appointed today Prince Mohammed bin Nayef, who is a very close friend and a cousin of mine, to be the third in command in Saudi Arabia. I think this shows that Saudi Arabia is in full force in transferring the power from the old generation, which are the sons of King Abdulaziz, to the third generation, who are now the grandsons of King Abdulaziz. And I think that this proves that Saudi Arabia is on track to have a tranquility, stability, and a very peaceful transition of power from the second generation, who are the sons of King Abdulaziz, to the third generation, who are the grandsons of King Abdulaziz.
Your Royal Highness, King Salman, does he have the same kind of passion and commitment towards helping the advancement of women and the treatment of women in Saudi Arabia?
Oh, no doubt about that. King Salman and the Crown Prince, Prince Migran, are my uncles, and I know them very well. And they are not only passionate, they are extremely passionate about that. And I can assure you that they will continue the path of King Abdullah, and they will accelerate the process of what King Abdullah has begun with.
Then, with the exception of, obviously, an emotional distress right now, are there going to be any other impacts on the country?
Sorry, repeat the question, please. What's that?
Then, with the exception of this personal loss you and the country is going through because of the death of the king, are there going to be any other impacts that we should be aware of?
Well, I think the transition today was very smooth. Today we have just prayed and we have just buried King Abdullah. And I think within 1 hour from now, we are all going to the royal court to pay our allegiance now formally and officially to King Salman, to Prince Migran. You know, as you say in the United States, the king dies and then long live the king. So really, the transition was very smooth, and I think this really is a plus for Saudi Arabia.
Your Royal Highness, once the succession moves to the next generation that you described, Prince bin Nayef, what will happen to Saudi Arabia's ambitions? What will Saudi Arabia want to be?
Well, you know, at least my generation, who is also the generation of Prince Mohammed bin Nayef also, and my other cousins who are the other grandsons of King Abdulaziz, we would like Saudi Arabia to be fully incorporated in the 21st century. I think we want Saudi Arabia to be very much assimilated in the new world order. And I think we still have some weaknesses that we have to work on. You know, I'm a man who says the truth and say it bluntly. You know, we're going to have to face some political questions, some economical questions, some financial issues, and some social matters that have to be addressed head-on. And I think that Saudi Arabia is on track to really work on all these fronts. But I believe that this matter has to be accelerated. And maybe with the new generation right now, and with the younger generation, who really Prince Migran represent, and somehow Prince Salman also, and a bigger extent Prince Mohammed bin Nayef represent also, I think the process can be accelerated to really reach our ideal situation.
Prince Alwaleed, I want to thank you very much. On behalf of Bloomberg, we extend our condolences once again. That is Prince Alwaleed bin Talal with us live from Riyadh, talking about the implications of the death of his uncle, King Abdullah, and the prospects under the new king, Salman.
More to cover here on Market Makers when we return. Liberty Global CEO Mike Freeze. Stay with us.